How did one "please respect my privacy" envelope in a bridal shop turn into my wedding being erased in one day? Why did he stay calm, say nothing in front of everyone, and let the papers speak for him instead? I still remember the clerk staring at me while my phone showed the same word again and again: blocked. My name is Araminta Sorrell, but everyone called me Minty. I was 33, and I worked the front desk at a dental office. I booked cleanings, moved appointments, and smiled until my cheeks felt tight. People said I was patient. People did not see how fast my mind could turn a problem into someone else's fault. Ethan Calder was 35. He worked in IT security and he liked rules. He also liked quiet. That sounded good when we first started dating. Quiet felt safe. Later, quiet felt like a wall I had to push. We were planning a wedding for late spring. I said it would be small but tasteful. Ethan said he did not need a show, only a promise. I told him that a promise still needed a day people could respect. I said respect followed results, and I had results. I had a ring, a dress folder, and a guest list. I had a life that looked right from the outside. The problem was Dylan Cross. Dylan was my ex. He was 34, and he managed a bar. He also played music on weekends. He did not have a stable schedule or a stable mood, but he knew how to make a room look at him. When I was younger, I thought that meant love. When I was older, I told myself it was just history. I told myself it was normal to keep history close. That night started like a normal weeknight. The kids were finally asleep. Lila was 6 and Nolan was 3. They were not Ethan's by blood, but Ethan had been there since Nolan was in diapers. Ethan did bedtime stories, made lunchboxes, and took Lila to school when my shift started early. I still told myself I was the one holding the family together. In the kitchen, Ethan rinsed dishes and lined them on the rack. He moved with the same slow care he used for everything. I checked my phone and saw Dylan's name. My thumb moved before I even thought. The message preview said he missed me and asked if I was awake. Ethan glanced over. He asked who was texting so late. I said it was a work group and someone was swapping shifts. Ethan asked why I smiled at a work message. I said I was just relieved because my schedule had been messy. He looked at me for a second longer than usual. Then he turned back to the sink. I told myself he was acting like a parent. I told myself he wanted to control me. I did not tell myself that I was lying, because that would mean I did something wrong. I was not the kind of woman who did wrong things. I was the kind of woman who did what she had to do. Later, on the couch, I sat with my knees tucked under me. Ethan sat on the other side with his laptop. I could feel him noticing every time my screen lit up. I hated that feeling. It made me want to prove a point. Dylan sent another message. He asked if Ethan still watched me like that. He said he remembered how I liked being seen. I told myself he was joking. I told myself it was harmless. Ethan asked what I was doing. I said I was looking up a wedding vendor and checking a message from my friend Janelle. Ethan asked why I turned my phone face down. I said the light bothered my eyes. He nodded, but his mouth stayed flat. I went to the bathroom and locked the door. I told myself I needed privacy. I told myself any adult would understand. In the mirror, I looked calm. Inside, I felt sharp. I typed back to Dylan and told him Ethan was being difficult again. I said Ethan was jealous for no reason. I said it was exhausting to be with a man who did not trust me. Dylan replied fast. He said I deserved freedom. He said Ethan sounded insecure. He said he would never treat me like a child. I read it twice, and my chest warmed. I liked the way Dylan took my side without asking for details. I did not notice how easy it was for him to take my side when he never had to live with me. When I came out, Ethan asked why I was gone so long. I said I had a stomach problem and needed a minute. He asked if I was okay. I said yes, and I made my voice soft so he would feel guilty for asking. He asked if Dylan was still messaging me. I stared at him like he had insulted me. I said Dylan was my past and Ethan could not erase my past. Ethan said he was not trying to erase anything. He said he only wanted a boundary because it did not feel respectful. I said respect went both ways, and he was not respecting me. I reached for my phone again, almost on purpose. Ethan did not grab it. He did not raise his voice. He only watched me, like he was saving the moment in his head. That look annoyed me more than anger would have. Anger would mean I could cry and call him cruel. To calm myself, I opened a group chat with my friends. Janelle asked how wedding planning was going. I told them Ethan was doing his controlling thing again. I said he got weird about Dylan like Dylan was some threat. Janelle replied that Ethan needed to grow up. Another friend sent laughing emojis. I felt supported. I felt right. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. Ethan got up and checked on the kids. I followed a minute later and stood in the hallway. I listened to him adjust Nolan's blanket and whisper something gentle. Lila shifted and mumbled in her sleep. Ethan's voice stayed low. There was nothing villain-like about it. That made me uneasy, so I turned away. Back in the living room, Ethan closed his laptop. He asked if we could talk calmly. I said we were already talking and he was the one making it a problem. He asked why I needed Dylan in my life when we were building a new life. I said Dylan understood me in ways Ethan did not. I saw Ethan's face tighten. I told myself it was proof that he was fragile. I went for my coat. Ethan asked where I was going. I said I needed air because he was suffocating me. He said it was late and asked me to stay home. I said he could not tell me what to do. I walked out before he could answer. Outside, the air was cold and clean. I walked toward the riverfront promenade where the lights reflected on the water. My phone buzzed again. Dylan asked if I wanted to meet for a quick coffee tomorrow. I told myself it was not cheating if it was just talking. I told myself Ethan's jealousy was pushing me into it. I told myself I was still a good person. When I came back, Ethan was in the kitchen again. He had moved 2 mugs apart on the counter, like they belonged to separate people. I noticed a faint smell like toner, like someone had printed something. I asked what he was doing. He said he was just organizing. I sat on the couch and scrolled in silence. Ethan did not sit next to me. He sat at the table and wrote something in his phone calendar. I saw the screen for half a second and caught the words, meeting, personal. I told myself it was work. I told myself it meant nothing. Then my phone lit up. Dylan's message preview showed the first line before I could flip it over, and Ethan's eyes landed on it at the exact same time. The next morning, I woke up with that bright, stubborn energy I always got after a fight. It felt like a win. Ethan moved around the apartment like a guest. He made coffee, packed the kids' snacks, and kept his eyes off my phone. That silence should have made me feel safe. Instead, it made me feel challenged. While Lila brushed her teeth, Ethan asked if we could reset and keep the day calm. I said I was already calm. He asked if I could stop texting Dylan for a while, at least until the wedding plan settled. I said he was acting like a judge, and I was not on trial. He said he did not want a trial. He wanted respect. I told him respect did not mean obedience. At the dental office, the day was full of ringing phones and late patients. I liked it there because I could be busy and important. People needed me. The moment I sat down, Dylan sent a message asking if I was still upset. I told him Ethan was being dramatic again. Dylan replied that I deserved a man who trusted me. I stared at that line and felt understood. In the break room, I heated soup and checked the wedding folder on my phone. I had a list of vendors, color ideas, and notes for table settings. My coworker Lana walked in and glanced at my screen. She asked if planning was going well. I said it was, but Ethan was stressing me out. I said he was getting weird about who I spoke to, like I was property. I did not say Dylan's name out loud. I let the idea do the work. Later, Ethan came by with lunch for me, because he said he had time between meetings. He stood at the front desk and smiled the polite smile he used with strangers. Some patients smiled back. He looked like the good fiancé. I did not like that, because in my version of the story, he was supposed to be the problem. He asked if I could step out for 1 minute. I followed him toward the hallway by the supply closet. He asked if I was okay and if I had slept. I said yes. He asked if I had met Dylan or planned to. I said no, and I acted offended that he even asked. He said he had seen Dylan's name on my screen last night. I said he was spying. He said he was not spying, he was standing in his own kitchen. I said he was twisting things and making me feel unsafe in my own home. He did not argue back the way I expected. He only nodded once and asked if we could talk later when the kids were not around. I said fine, but I made my voice cold. I wanted him to feel small. When he left, Lana asked if that was Ethan. I said yes and rolled my eyes. I said he had one of his jealous moments. Lana laughed and said some men were like that. I felt a little thrill. It was easy. People believed the version I gave them. At 3:40, my office manager, Renee, sent me a short message asking me to come to the small room. It was the room we used for private talks, the one with 2 chairs and a box of tissues. My stomach tightened, but I told myself it was nothing. Renee asked if everything was okay at home. I said yes. She asked if I had posted something online about relationships that patients might see. I said it was a joke and people were too sensitive. Renee said someone had recognized the dental office in the background of one of my stories. I said that was impossible, but I knew it was not. Renee said it could become a problem if patients thought staff drama was public content. I said it was not drama, it was my personal life, and I had a right to speak. Renee said she understood, but she needed me to be careful. I walked out angry. I told myself Ethan's control was now reaching my workplace. I told myself this was what controlling men did. They made women look unstable. It did not matter that Ethan had not contacted my office and had not done anything at all. In my head, it was still his fault. After work, I sat in my car in the parking garage and called Janelle. I told her Renee pulled me into a room because of my relationship stress. Janelle asked what Ethan did now. I said he kept accusing me about Dylan, like I was a teenager sneaking around. Janelle said Ethan sounded insecure and suggested we do a rooftop bar night to reset my mood. I agreed fast. I liked the idea of a crowd. A crowd meant I could be the victim in public. When I got home, Ethan was kneeling by Nolan's shoes, tying the laces with careful hands. Lila sat at the table coloring. Ethan asked how my day was. I said it was awful and my manager had questioned me because of stress at home. Ethan looked up sharply and asked what that meant. I said it meant his jealousy was affecting my life. He said he never contacted my job. I said I did not say he did, but he was still the reason. He asked if we could talk before I went out. I said I already had plans. He asked where. I said a rooftop bar with friends, and I said it like I was daring him to react. He asked if Dylan would be there. I said no, but my face got hot because I did not actually know if Dylan would show up. Ethan asked if I could come home early because he had work in the morning and the kids needed a stable routine. I said he was not my father. He said he was not trying to parent me. He was trying to protect the family. I said the family was fine until he started acting paranoid. On the counter, I noticed a new folder by the mail stack. It was labeled Bank in neat block letters. I almost asked about it, but I didn't. I did not want to give him the satisfaction of knowing I noticed anything he did. At the rooftop bar, the air smelled like perfume and warm metal heaters. Janelle hugged me and asked for details. I told the story the way I liked it. I said Ethan was sweet in public, but controlling in private. I said he watched my phone and questioned my friends. I said he wanted to erase my past like it offended him. Janelle's other friend, Sierra, asked who my past was. I said my ex, Dylan, but I said it casually, like it was not a big deal. They reacted exactly how I wanted. Janelle said Ethan was insecure. Sierra said men who acted jealous usually had secrets. I nodded like that made sense. I did not mention that Ethan had never cheated, never disappeared, never shouted. I focused on how he made me feel. Feelings were easy. Feelings did not need proof. I posted a short clip of the bar lights and wrote a line about grown women not needing permission. I knew Ethan might see it. I wanted him to see it. I wanted him to feel warned. When I got home, the apartment was quiet. Ethan had left a plate covered in foil in the fridge. He had also left his laptop open on the dining table for just a second before he closed it when he heard me. I caught a glimpse of a spreadsheet grid, but I could not read the title. He said he was just organizing bills. I said he was being weird. He asked if I had fun. I said yes, and I said it like it was a weapon. My phone buzzed. Dylan sent a message saying he wished he had seen me tonight. I turned the screen down. Ethan's eyes followed the motion, not my face. He did not ask for my phone. He did not accuse me. He only picked up his keys and set them in a different spot than usual, like he was changing habits on purpose. Then, while I brushed my teeth, I heard a soft notification sound from the living room, like a cloud app confirming something uploaded. By the weekend, I felt like Ethan was testing me with silence. He did not shout, he did not slam doors. He just kept moving in careful lines, like he was stepping around a spill he did not want on his shoes. That kind of calm made me feel exposed. I decided we needed a public reset. I told myself a public moment would put him back in place. If he looked difficult in front of other people, he would soften later at home. That was how I explained it to myself. I said we should do a family dinner at a big restaurant downtown, the kind with long tables and loud plates. Ethan asked why we needed a crowd. I said it was good for the kids and good for wedding energy. He said he was tired, but he agreed. He always agreed, and I used that as proof that he was fine. In the afternoon, I also told Ethan we should stop by the community bridal expo. I said it was practical because vendors were all in one place. Ethan asked who was going. I said my mom might come, and maybe Janelle, and maybe Paige, if she got off shift. Ethan asked if Dylan would be there. I laughed like it was a silly question. I said Dylan did not care about weddings. I said Ethan was being paranoid again. I did not tell Ethan that Dylan had already asked what I was doing Saturday. I had told Dylan it was wedding stuff. Dylan said he could swing by because a friend was playing music near the expo hall. He said he could say hello and be supportive. I told myself it would be rude to refuse a friendly hello. I told myself it was normal. At the expo, the air smelled like cheap flowers and sugar samples. Vendors waved brochures like flags. I pushed the stroller with Nolan and guided Lila with my free hand. Ethan walked beside us, steady and quiet. People looked at us and probably thought we were a normal couple. That bothered me because I wanted people to see my struggle. At one booth, a photographer asked if we wanted to do a quick couple pose. Ethan asked if I wanted it. I said yes, but my voice was flat. I wanted Ethan to try harder. The photographer asked us to stand close. Ethan put his hand lightly on my back. I kept my shoulders stiff so the picture would show tension. I told myself that was honest. Then Dylan appeared, as if the crowd opened just for him. He smiled wide and acted surprised to see me, even though we had already messaged. He asked how I was, and said I looked amazing. He asked if this was the famous Ethan. Ethan nodded and said hello. Dylan offered a handshake and held it a second too long. Ethan did not pull away fast. He just let go when it was over. I introduced Dylan to Lila as an old friend. Lila asked if Dylan was coming to our wedding. Dylan said he was happy for me, and said he wanted me to be treated right. Ethan's eyes flicked to me. He asked quietly why Dylan was here. I said Dylan was only passing by and it would be rude to make a scene. Ethan said he was not making a scene. He said he was asking a simple question. I said he was acting jealous in public now, and I said it like a warning. Dylan offered to help carry brochures. I let him. I told myself it was harmless. I told myself Ethan should be grateful someone helped me. I did not think about how it looked. Or maybe I did, and I liked that. While Ethan stood with Nolan near a cake table, Dylan leaned closer and asked if Ethan was still cold about him. I said Ethan was being controlling again. Dylan said I should not accept that. He said I was too good to be watched. I nodded and felt that warm, chosen feeling again. Ethan approached and asked if we were ready to leave. I said we could stay a bit longer. Ethan said Nolan looked tired. I said Nolan was always tired because toddlers were like that. Ethan said he would take the kids to the car and I could finish up. I said he was trying to separate me from people. He did not answer. He just picked up Nolan gently and motioned for Lila to follow. I watched him walk away, and for a second my stomach tightened. He looked like a good man doing a simple job. That did not fit my story, so I pushed the feeling down. That evening at the restaurant, my mother arrived in a bright coat like she was the main character. Paige came straight from work, still looking tired. Janelle came too, with her phone already half raised like she wanted content. Ethan's mother Ruth came, because she said she wanted to talk about wedding details. Cole did not come, but he had texted Ethan something earlier, and I saw Ethan glance at the message and put his phone away. We sat at a long table where the noise bounced off everything. Plates clinked. People leaned in close to talk. I felt powerful there, like I could steer the mood. Maris asked how planning was going. I said it was fine, but Ethan had been stressed. Ruth asked what kind of stress. I said Ethan kept worrying about little things and trying to set rules. I said it like I was laughing, but I watched for reactions. Ethan asked me to pass the water. I did, but I let my fingers brush his too long, like I was showing ownership. Then I pulled back fast like I was bored. I could see Ruth watching my face. I hated that. Halfway through dinner, Janelle asked if we wanted to do a toast to the wedding. She asked loudly, so nearby tables looked over. I said yes right away. I wanted that spotlight. I stood and lifted my glass. I said we should celebrate love and patience. Then I joked that Ethan had a lot of rules and that I was training him to relax. People laughed. Maris laughed loudest. Janelle laughed and repeated the joke, like it was a line in a show. Paige did not laugh. Ruth's smile did not move. Ethan did not stop me. He did not argue. He only looked down at his plate and took a slow breath. That calm made me push harder. I added that I still talked to old friends, and Ethan was learning to accept it. I said it like it was wise and modern. I did not say Dylan's name, but everyone knew. The laughter got thinner. A man at the next table glanced over, then looked away. After the toast, Ethan asked if we could talk outside for 1 minute. I said no, because I did not want private talks anymore. Private talks were where he might make sense. I wanted the group. I wanted witnesses. On the ride home, I got into the front seat and shut the door too hard. The dashcam light on the windshield blinked, tiny and steady. Ethan started the car without looking at me. He asked if I thought that toast was kind. I said it was a joke and he was too sensitive. He said he felt humiliated. I said he was choosing to feel that way. When we parked, Ethan stayed in the car a moment after the engine stopped. His phone made a soft beep, like a recording app ending. He slipped it into his pocket calmly. I asked what that sound was. He said it was nothing, and asked if I could carry Lila inside while he got Nolan. Inside the apartment, I saw 2 mugs on the counter again, farther apart than before. I also saw a sticky note near the mail that said, "Bring forms." I stared at it for a second, then looked away, because I did not want to imagine what it meant. I told myself it was work. I told myself Ethan was just being organized. Then my phone buzzed with a message from Dylan asking if I got home safe, and I turned the screen down so fast my hand shook. My Monday started with a bruise of tiredness behind my eyes. The kids moved slow. Lila asked why Ethan did not sit next to me at dinner anymore. I told her he was just stressed and liked space. Ethan heard it and asked me not to talk about adult issues with her. I said I was only answering a question, and he was trying to silence me. In the school pickup line, cars crawled like a long snake. Parents stood near open doors, talking in small groups. I saw two moms from Lila's class glance at me and then glance away. I told myself Ethan must have said something. Ethan had not said anything, but it was easier to blame him than to face the truth that my own posts and jokes had traveled. Ethan waited in the passenger seat because he said he wanted to help with the kids. He watched the line and did not look at my phone. That should have made me calm. Instead, it felt like he was pretending not to care, and I hated being ignored. When Lila climbed in, she asked why I looked mad. I said I was not mad, just busy. She asked if Ethan still loved me. Ethan turned his head toward the window like he needed air. I told Lila that of course he loved me, and I added that sometimes grown-ups had big feelings, and Ethan did not handle them well. Ethan asked me to stop talking like that. I said he was proving my point. After school, we stopped at a playground because Nolan needed to burn energy. I sat on a bench and scrolled. Dylan had sent 2 messages. He asked if Ethan was still acting cold, and he said I deserved someone who chose me first. I typed back that Ethan was making everything hard. I told myself I was only venting. I told myself venting was not betrayal. Ethan pushed Nolan on the small swing and held him steady. Leela played on the climbing frame and looked back often, like she was checking who was safe. Ethan asked if I could put my phone away and be present. I said I was present and he was just looking for reasons to criticize me. He asked why I needed Dylan's attention at all. I said Dylan was not attention. He was a friend who understood my life. Ethan asked if a friend asked for secrecy. I said he was twisting words again. Nolan tripped and scraped his knee. Ethan cleaned it with a wipe from the diaper bag. Lila watched Ethan's hands, then asked if we could go home. I felt annoyed because the moment made Ethan look good. I told myself the kids only clung to him because he spoiled them. On the way out, Ethan's phone made a small alarm sound. I saw the label flash for half a second. It said something like paper drop. He swiped it away fast. I asked what that was. He said it was a reminder for errands. I said he never used alarms for errands. He said he was trying to be organized. I laughed and said he was acting like a robot. That evening, I went to the supermarket alone because I said I needed space. Ethan did not stop me. He asked if I could pick up diapers and milk. I said yes, but I said it in a way that made him feel like he was asking too much. In the checkout line, I held my card with one hand and my phone with the other. Dylan asked if I wanted to meet for a quick coffee later in the week. I said I would see. When I paid, the card reader paused longer than usual. The cashier stared at the screen and then at me. She asked me to try again. I tried again. It worked on the second attempt, but I felt heat in my face. I told myself the system was slow. Still, my mind kept chewing on that pause. In the parking garage, I opened our banking app out of habit. One of the shared accounts looked different, like a setting changed. A transfer limit notice popped up, and I did not remember approving anything. I told myself it was a bank update. I told myself Ethan could not be doing anything serious without telling me. People had to tell their partners those things. Normal people did, at least. At home, the apartment felt split in half. Ethan's mug sat by the sink. Mine sat by the coffee machine. The guest bed looked slightly disturbed, like someone had been there even though he claimed he slept fine on the couch. The car in the driveway was pointed toward the street instead of backed in. That detail bothered me more than it should have. I heard a low hum from the hallway closet, like a shredder running for a few seconds. I asked what that noise was. Ethan said he was cleaning old mail. I said he was hiding something. He asked what I thought he was hiding. I said I did not know, and that was the problem. He said he did not want to fight in front of the kids and asked if we could talk after bedtime. I said he always wanted private talks so he could control the narrative. He went quiet again. The next day, Ruth invited us to her living room for tea. She said she wanted to discuss wedding plans and also check on the kids. I agreed because I wanted an audience. Ethan agreed because he always tried to look reasonable. Ruth's living room smelled like lemon cleaner and old books. Cole was there too, sitting with his hands clasped like he was waiting for weather to change. Paige had come with me because she said she wanted to make sure things stayed calm. My mother Marius came late and loud, like she arrived to lead a show. Ruth asked how we were doing. Ethan said we were figuring things out. Maris said Ethan was being difficult and punishing me for having a life. Ethan's jaw tightened, but he did not bite. He said he only wanted respect and stability for the children. Maris asked why he could not act like a man and stop acting fragile. I jumped in and said Ethan had been monitoring my phone and making me feel trapped. Ethan asked me when he monitored my phone. I said he watched me all the time. He said watching was not monitoring and asked if I could give one example of him taking my phone or stopping me from leaving. I said he did not have to take it to make me feel controlled. Paige asked me if I was still talking to Dylan. I said yes, because I refused to lie in front of everyone. I said it was not a crime to talk. Cole asked if I understood how it looked. I said looks were not facts. Ruth asked if Dylan was contacting the children. I said no and acted offended that she asked. Ethan said he had never claimed Dylan contacted them. He said he only wanted boundaries and honesty. Ruth looked at Ethan and asked if he was okay. Ethan said he was handling things properly. My stomach dropped at that word because he said it like a decision, not a threat. I watched him put his keys on the table and noticed a new key on the ring, one I had not seen before. When he stood to help Nolan with a toy, I heard a soft click from his pocket, like a locked drawer opening and closing in his mind. On the drive home, my phone buzzed again. I tapped Ethan's name to call him, just to prove I still could, and the screen spun for a moment like it did not want to connect. I went into that week with one goal. I wanted Ethan to stop acting cold and go back to the man who nodded and paid deposits. I told myself the wedding would fix everything. If we stood in front of people and promised forever, he would have to let go of his doubts. That was how I explained it to myself. On Wednesday, I had a bridal shop appointment. The consultant had saved a fitting room for me and put clips and fabric swatches on a table. Janelle came with me because she liked an audience. Paige said she could not come because of a long shift, but she texted that she hoped I was being careful. I did not answer that part. I only sent a mirror selfie with a dress emoji. In the shop, the consultant asked how my fiancé felt about the style. I said he liked whatever made me happy. Janelle said that men did not get opinions anyway. I laughed too loudly and watched two other brides glance over. Ethan arrived 10 minutes late, still in his work clothes, and he held a small bag like he brought snacks for the kids later. He asked how it was going. I said it was fine and asked why he was late like it was proof he did not care. He said traffic was heavy and he had to finish a call. I said he always had a call when I needed him. The consultant asked Ethan if he wanted to see the dress. Ethan said yes. When I stepped out, he looked at me carefully, like he was studying details for a report. He said it was beautiful. His voice was calm, but his eyes were tired. I did not like that calm. Calm meant he was not afraid of losing me. Janelle asked Ethan if he was excited. Ethan said he wanted a stable home and a good future. Janelle laughed and said he sounded like a brochure. I smiled because it made Ethan look stiff. Ethan asked Janelle to please be respectful. Janelle asked why he was so sensitive. Ethan said he did not want jokes about his family. I leaned closer to Ethan and asked if he was going to ruin another day with his mood. He asked what I meant. I said he had been acting like I was guilty of something. He asked if I could stop talking to Dylan. I said again that Dylan was a friend and Ethan was trying to control me. Ethan asked why a friend needed private talks at night. I said Ethan was obsessed and it was unattractive. The consultant pretended not to hear. Her smile stayed fixed, but she moved her eyes away fast. I felt a little power from that. I told myself Ethan deserved to feel embarrassed because he embarrassed me with his suspicion. After the appointment, Ethan walked behind me down the stairs. The stairwell echoed, and I could hear every step. He asked if we could talk without friends around. I said he always wanted private talks so he could twist words later. He said he did not twist words and asked if I could just answer one question. I said I had already answered, and if he did not like it, that was his problem. Outside, I saw his car in the lot, pointed toward the street like he planned to leave fast. I noticed it and felt annoyed. I asked if he was planning an escape. He said he had errands after and wanted an easy exit. I said he was lying. He drove us home in silence. When we reached the driveway, he asked if I would be home for dinner. I said I might meet Paige or run errands, and I kept it vague on purpose. He asked if that meant Dylan. I said he was proving he could not trust women. He said he trusted women and did not trust lies. That night, I did not go to Paige. I met Dylan. I told myself it was just to clear my head. I told myself Ethan was pushing me there with his coldness. I met Dylan near his workplace, in a place with bright lights and people coming and going, so it would feel normal. Dylan asked how the dress appointment went. I said Ethan acted like a stranger. Dylan said Ethan did not appreciate what he had. I said Ethan had been trying to set rules. Dylan said I did not need rules. I needed someone who chose me. I should say I did not plan anything. I should say it was an accident. But the truth was that I liked feeling chosen, and I liked feeling like I had options. I made choices that night that I later called a mistake, even though I knew they were choices in the moment. I kept the details soft in my head, like fog, so I could still call myself a good person. When I came home, Ethan was in the kitchen, wiping the counter. 2 mugs sat far apart again. The air smelled faintly like warm paper, like a printer had been used. I saw a sticky note near the fridge that said, "Bring forms." I did not ask what forms. I did not want the answer. Ethan asked if I had a nice time. I said yes and asked why he was acting like a policeman. He asked where I was. I said I went out to breathe because he was suffocating me. He asked why my phone location showed a different area for 2 hours. I said my phone was wrong, and he was tracking me. He said he was not tracking me, and he only noticed because the kid's tablet shared the family map. I said that was still tracking, and he was creepy. He asked if I could stop turning everything into an attack. I said he attacked first by accusing me. He asked if I was still committed to the wedding. I said yes, but I said it in a way that meant he should be grateful I was still offering it. The next day, Maris called me and asked how the fitting went. I said it was fine, but Ethan acted jealous again. Maris said men use jealousy to keep women small. She said I should teach Ethan a lesson by reminding him I had choices. I said I already did. Paige called later and asked if I was okay. She asked if Dylan was still around. I said yes and told her she needed to stop judging me. Paige said she was thinking about the kids. I said the kids were fine and everyone was being dramatic. That evening, I tried to push Ethan back into the wedding plan. I told him we needed to confirm the venue meeting and finalize payments. Ethan looked at his phone and then put it down. He asked if I wanted a marriage or a performance. I said I wanted both, because a marriage without respect was pointless. He asked what I thought respect was. I said it was people seeing us as solid, not as a couple with issues. He nodded slowly, like he finally understood something. Then he said he was done debating feelings. He said he would handle it properly. I felt my stomach drop, but I covered it with a scoff. I asked what that meant. He said it meant he would do things the right way, not the loud way. I asked if he was threatening me. He said he was not threatening anyone. He said he was protecting himself and the kids. An hour later, while I was scrolling and trying to calm down, an email popped up from the venue account. The subject line said the planned date was cancelled. My thumb froze over the screen, and for the first time in months, I could not find a clever way to make it look like a win. I drove to the bridal shop like speed could fix it. I told myself Ethan was only having a moment. I told myself he would calm down when he saw me in front of real people, with real plans. Janelle met me there because she loved drama when it was not her life. She asked what happened. I said Ethan tried to punish me and make me look unstable. Janelle said he was being cruel and childish. Inside, the consultant recognized me and asked if we were still on for the next appointment. I said yes, but my voice shook. I asked her to check the venue schedule because there must be a mistake. She tapped on her tablet and then looked up with a careful face. She said the date was cancelled and the account note said, "Client request." I said I did not request it. She said only the account holder could cancel, and it was already processed. I said Ethan was doing this to control me. The consultant asked if I wanted to sit down. I said no, because sitting felt like losing. Janelle started talking louder and said men always acted nice until they wanted power. Two brides near the accessories wall stared at us, then looked away. I called Ethan. It went to voicemail. I called again. It went to voicemail again. I texted him and said he needed to answer because this was serious. The message did not show delivered. I told myself the signal was bad inside the shop. The consultant said she could not reinstate the appointment without the account holder confirming. I said I was his partner, and this was my wedding too. She said she understood, but she could only follow the system. I said the system was unfair. She stayed polite, which made me feel worse, because it meant I could not make her the villain. I left the shop and stood on the sidewalk with my phone in my hand. Janelle asked where Ethan worked and said we should go there. I said yes, because I wanted to look brave. I wanted to show him I would not be ignored. We drove to his office tower. It was a clean building with a shiny lobby and a security desk. People walked through with coffee cups and badges. I felt small there, like my life was not the main thing in the world. I hated that feeling, so I made my face hard. At the desk, I said I needed to see Ethan Calder. The guard asked if I had an appointment. I said I was his fiancé and it was urgent. The guard said he could not let me go upstairs without permission. I said he was blocking family. The guard said he was following policy. He offered to call upstairs. I said yes, and my voice sounded sharp even to me. While the guard made the call, a woman in a plain coat walked toward me. She held a folder and looked at a clipboard. She asked if my name was Araminta Sorrell. I said yes and asked who she was. She said she was there to deliver legal documents. I laughed once, like it was a joke, but it did not sound like a joke. I told her I would not take anything. She said she was not asking for a favor. She was completing service. She explained it calmly, like she had done it 1,000 times. She said she could hand it to me or place it close to me, and that it still counted. People walked past and glanced at us. The guard stopped talking and watched. I said this was harassment. She said it was not harassment, it was a legal process, and she was doing her job. She placed the packet on the lobby table beside me and said she had confirmed my identity. She asked me to sign, and I said no. She said that was fine and wrote something on her clipboard. My hands moved on their own. I opened the packet because I needed to know what lie Ethan was telling. I saw his name. I saw my name. I saw words like petition and temporary orders and financial restrictions. I saw a section about the children and a section about communication and rules that sounded like walls. Janelle leaned in and asked what it was. I told her Ethan was trying to ruin me. My voice went thin. The guard said someone upstairs said Ethan was not available. The guard asked me to leave the lobby. I looked down again and saw a line about shared accounts and limits. I thought about the checkout delay at the supermarket. I thought about the bank folder at home. I thought about the shredder hum. I thought about the calm way Ethan said he would handle it properly. I unlocked my phone and hit Ethan's name again. This time the screen showed it clearly. It said I could not message this contact. Then it showed one word that felt like a slap. Blocked. I lifted my head to speak, but the lobby had gone quiet around me, and I realized the papers were the loudest thing I had left.